Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. It's Sunday morning. Want to get into our study group for warriors. Welcome to the new subscribers. This is how we get down. You'll get the hang of it. I'm not going to go too much into an explanation. You hardcore heads know how we get down on Sundays, so let's just get into it. Let's talk about being in a storm. I've learned about storms since I live in Florida. We have hurricanes. We're getting ready to go into hurricane season. Fingers and toes crossed that we don't really get hit here on the east coast of Central Florida. We've been hit pretty hard in years past. But one thing I've realized about storms is that you can't stop them. You can't will them away. You can't yell at them to go away. You can't do anything. You're literally powerless. The storm could be tearing your house apart. You can't do anything. There's nothing you can do. You can't stop a storm from tearing the roof off your house. There's nothing you can do. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care if you go into your Super Saiyan mode. There's nothing you can do. This is out of your control. That's a hard reality. It's a lesson in life. Sometimes storms, you can't fix it. You want to struggle so hard to fix it, to stop it. And you can't. You can't be the superhero. All you have to do is survive like everybody else. You're just going to struggle to survive. Storms can really ruin everything. There's always this process of cleanup. Damage assessment's the first thing you do. If you're smart enough to evacuate, I've never evacuated. I don't evacuate. I'm not going anywhere. You do the walkthrough around the property to see what's damaged. You look outside and see the neighbors, what's damaged. And you try to do an assessment of what we can do to fix it. And a lot of times, as soon as the rain stops, the storm just ended, it's just gone 5 minutes ago. People are already starting to clean up. They're not going to wait for a day or a week and cry about it and think about it and let it sink in and then finally get around to it. They're on top of it immediately. Storms bring people together, which is interesting. Storms bring people out of their house, which is interesting. These are real storms. I'm talking about hurricanes bring people out. The storms in your life, the problems that you go through, very often do the opposite. They isolate you. Why do we ask for help in a hurricane, but we don't ask for help when we're going through a serious depression? When you go through a storm, there's one thing, we'll go to the next one, but there's one thing I've learned. You find out who's down for you and who isn't when you've gone through a storm. You find out who your friends are, who your real friends are, real quick. The day after the storm, you find out. Your friends will call you or email you or message you on social media, text message you. They'll contact you somehow. A real friend will stop by because they know your power's out, and they'll come over. You'll see their truck out front, and they'll just be like, I got water. What do you need? You need anything? You want to come stay with me? We got a generator. Come on. That's real friendship. They come for you in the storm. They say, oh, Andrew is going through something. I'm going to go fuck with Andrew. I got to go find him. I'm going to go help him. I heard that he's having a hard time right now. Where's that motherfucker at? I'm going to go hang out with him. At the very least, just be in the room with that motherfucker so he doesn't pull a trigger. That's real friendship. Let's go on to the next one. Many of you are on a righteous path. I'm not going to say whether you should be or shouldn't be. It's up to you. I am on one. It's a path I've chosen for myself. Many people laugh at me for it. But I've learned this, that righteousness ruins a good time. It certainly does. It can ruin a good time, and you have to be ready for that. I'm warning you. This is a warning. Righteousness ruins a good time. So if you're willing to go on this path of righteousness towards greatness, towards supreme being, towards power, ultimate power, Some of what you thought was a good time will no longer be a good time. You will change. Why? Well, because you'll have a conscience. Your conscience won't allow you to be around certain people any longer. You won't be able to tolerate it. You used to. You used to be able to tolerate those people. Now you can't even stand them. You used to be able to go to certain places, certain parties, certain events. You can't go to them anymore. Your conscience won't allow you. You won't go to the strip club anymore once you've joined this righteous path because your conscience won't allow you. It's gotten so bad for me where I'm such a righteous motherfucker, my conscience won't allow me to engage in sin at all. When I notice something that goes against my core beliefs, it really fucks with me. This never used to happen to me before. The Chinese restaurant that I love, I used to go there all the time. Great food. Family owned. They have their little children, young little children. I don't even know if they're high school age. And they work 8 hours a day. They're not in school. It's a violation of child labor laws, and it's child slavery. This kid works more than I do. He puts in more hours a day than I put in, and he's a little boy. My conscience won't allow me to eat there anymore. I want to blow the place up. Let's go to the next one. It's too late for me. Go on without me. You ever said that? It's such a place of weakness. I've said that once. I was a little boy, and I was with my crew. I used to be in a little gang at age 10, and we were in the apartment projects. We went across the street from the projects to a construction site, and we stole a bunch of wood. And they were like, hey, don't take that. And we took it and ran off. It was like 6 of us. And the wood was heavy, and we're running off with these boards. We were going to build a go-kart. And we built it, too. And one of the kids crashed and broke his arm. But that's a different story. But on the way that we were taking the wood, we stole the wood. And we got this wood, and we ran across the street with the wood. And they're like, hey, you kids. And we ran across a busy intersection into the projects. And we're carrying the wood through the projects. And we're struggling with it, putting it down, picking it up. And it's hot. 100 and fucking something degrees, full humidity. And I got heat stroke. I got overheated. And I dropped to the ground, dizzy. And my fucking buddies, my homeboys, they all left me. They left me. Nobody stayed with me. Nobody helped me. They left me, abandoned me. And I passed out, fell asleep on the sidewalk. 10-year-old boy, sleeping, passed out in a pool of sweat, right on the sidewalk in the projects. It's very dangerous. Well, long story short, I woke up in the arms of a guy who was active duty Marine. He was wearing his outfit, his military uniform. There was a military base nearby. And I don't know how he knew where I lived. I have no idea. He was carrying me to my apartment. He was already on the second floor of my building. I don't know who this guy was. And he saved me. He was my hero. He brought me, he knocked on my door, he handed me to my mother. My mother was like, oh my God. He told the story. She thanked him profusely. He was literally a hero who saved my life. If you feel like it's too late for you, just know this. God will send someone, just like he did with me. God will send you a hero. Let me ask you a question. Go on to the next one. Who are you? You can answer this question on a piece of paper since we're not in the same room together. If we were in the same room together, I would wait for your response. Who are you? And you might tell me, oh, I'm Tom, or I'm Andrew, or whatever your name is, and you would start telling me who you are, who you were, wouldn't you? You would tell me about your past. Who you are is who you were. That's how you answer it, right? But you're writing it down right now. If you want to do the exercise, who are you? Write down a list of who you are. Write down it in sentence form, however best you want. You're going to tell me who you were. You're going to sit there and talk about your past because that's what you think. You think your past is who you are, but you're not answering the question. You're not even listening to the question. Who are you? I'm not asking you who you were. The past doesn't exist. The past is a fantasy. Who you were doesn't exist. It's a delusional fantasy. You don't even remember the accurate version of who you were anymore. Nobody does. It's scientific. We don't have the capacity to accurately remember the past. No human has ever accurately remembered the past. There's a good chance that all your history books are twisted lies, at least not completely accurate. So I ask you again, who are you? You got to listen to the words. Who are you? Underline the word are. We're talking about in the moment. All we have is this moment. The future doesn't exist. The past doesn't exist. All you have is the moment. Who you are is who you are in the moment. What you're thinking in the moment. It's just food for thought. Let's go on to the next one. What is your biggest fear? That's a big question, huh? Think about it for a minute. What is your biggest fear? You can write it down. Maybe you have a couple. Going homeless. That's a lot of people's biggest fear, going homeless. I've been homeless. Going loveless. Not having any options, not having anyone like you, not having any friends or lovers. There's no women that want to date you. You've been rejected, ruthlessly rejected by everyone. That's some people's biggest fear, is to be completely and totally alone in this world. I know what that's like. Some people's biggest fear is to go crazy. They're constantly running from going crazy. They don't want to go crazy. They don't want to lose their mind. They want to be able to hold it together. I have to hold it together for everything, for everybody, for my family, for myself. I have to hold it together. Your biggest fear is to go crazy. I'm going crazy too. Your biggest fear might be a life of failure. That every single thing that you do fails. You're the opposite of King Midas. Remember King Midas? Wasn't he the one that everything he touched turned to gold? You could be the opposite. Everything you touch turned to shit. Everything you've ever tried fails. Trust me, I know what that's like. I feel like I'm in the process of that right now. So what do you do when you've identified? You may have all these, you may have one of these, you may have others. I'm not asking you to reveal what your biggest fear is in the comments. That's for you. You can write it down and not show it to anybody. But that's your weakness. That's your job for today and for every day, is to strengthen yourself. Strengthen those areas specifically. Start with your biggest fears and get over them. Is your biggest fear dying? Start pondering death. Don't make your deathbed the first time you've ever thought about death. Don't make that doctor's office, when he gives you that cancer diagnosis, be the first time you've ever thought about your own death. Think about it a lot. Plan it. So when, not if, when it happens, you motherfuckers don't even realize you're going to die. Every single person watching this will die. Everyone you know will die. Every person on the planet will die. Prepare for it. Is that your biggest fear? It doesn't need to be a fear. Be not afraid of death. It's all food for thought. Have a good weekend.